Hi, friends. Welcome back to Off the Cuff. We're going to be doing War of the Worlds this week, so we're going to pull up some Rotten Tomatoes reviews and see what people have to say with it. This movie is pretty positively reviewed by critics, so it's going to be mostly audience scores. So we'll see what we got going on here. As a quick reminder, this movie is a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes audience scores. Let's see. And taking a quick look at these, there is a lot of positive reviews. Um, so we'll try and find some negative ones, but we'll do a good mix of them all. This one from Derek M, 3 star. Loved this movie as a kid, and I still think it's good by all means. But the first half really drags, and it just sort of stumbles to the end. That's an interesting. That's an interesting take. I don't think it drags that badly, to be perfectly honest. By the end, although I do think I understand what he's saying. It's about the part where they go into the guy's cellar, and it's the scenes before the tripod send in the like the probe, basically, like the tentacle probe to see if there's anybody in there. That at that point it starts dragging a little bit, but I don't think it drags all that much. I mean, all that to say, I see where he's coming from. I just don't think it actually drags as badly as it makes it sound. This one from Justin, 3.5. It was a thrilling ride from the very beginning to the very end. I enjoyed it very much. Tom and Dakota are both so convincing. I'd be curious what they wanted as a little bit more, because if it's a 3.5 star, obviously it's a good review, but it begs the question what you think could have been better about the movie. I agree. I think Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning do an excellent job in this movie, and the older brother. And I apologize, I can't think of his character's name or his character's. I don't think I can think of his character's name or his actor's name right now. I'm a little tired. But I think they have a really interesting dynamic, and I think they all did a really really good job in this film. Oh, here we go. A 1 star from Rob. That movie was terrible. How is it that Ray and the news people are the only ones who can figure out how to start his car? Why is there always a path clear for the van? During one of the driving scenes, you could clearly see through the back window that he was driving through cars. It's probably the worst Spielberg film ever. This is one of those reviews, I think, where if you don't have the buy-in by this point of the movie, it's really hard to get back on board with it. So while I can sit here and say, oh, well, you have to suspend your disbelief, like, and that's true, but if you don't have that buy-in to be able to do it, then that's when this criticism becomes valid. My only counter to this would be the scene where the mob takes over the van. Um, Obviously, the path is not clear for that point. Um, but otherwise, it's like it's a movie. The path has to be clear to advance the story the way they want to advance it. But I mean, if it's something that you don't have the buy-in, then you don't have the buy-in. This one from AJ, 4 star, captures the claustrophobia and panic of the original novel. Tom Cruise tones down his visual bravura, not as good as Alan Moore's graphic novel. Good steampunk feel, good post Sunday lunch film. Yeah, again, I think it's a good get your popcorn, sit down, enjoy a fun little disaster film. I think I would have a hard time. I think I would have a hard time watching this movie again, to be honest. And not because it's bad. It's just, again, I know I've talked about it before in some earlier episodes, but being a father, it'd be really hard for me to put my, like, I empathize a lot when I'm watching movies, so it's like, what would I do in this situation? So it's really hard for me to sit there and watch this movie and put myself in his shoes when I'm a dad. I'm like, what would I do in this situation? It's a tough one for me to watch, but I agree. I think the claustrophobia and panic is really, really good. Like, and we talked about it in the review briefly, but you don't really know what's happening on his level. Um, you don't have any idea what's going on. So I think it's really good. Half star from Eric. This one of the this is one of the most inane movies and waste of time. I could not even decide the purpose of this poor excuse of a movie. What is the plot? Oh yes, there isn't one. I mean, the plot is basically to survive and get the kids to Miranda Otto. I don't think it's that hard to follow at all. This one from Mike C, a 2 star. Fanning was annoying. The son was just a jerk given his age and what was happening. Cruise was flat. Special effects were amazing and the reason to watch. So I have heard that at the time, because I didn't watch this movie at the time. At the time, a lot of people were really criticizing Dakota Fanning's performance, that she was screaming all the time. But honestly, I think she was acting appropriately given the situation. There's an alien attack. You're with your dad, who's clearly not the favorite parent of the two. Um, the brother being a jerk, like, yeah, I mean, he didn't want to be with his dad, like he didn't want to be there for the weekend or whatever. So I don't know. I think they all acted pretty reasonably given the characters that they were given. Um, Particularly Dakota Fanning. I think that Dakota Fanning criticism is very, very strange. Like, I don't know how else you were supposed to, like, have her act. Like, 'cause she wasn't going to act quiet and whatever throughout the whole movie. Like, and I think her performance is partly what sells it. And I think another part of this movie that was really, really well done is Dakota Fanning and her brother's relationship was so well done. I think it was really, really good. Um, you got the feeling that they had this closeness that they didn't have with their dad, and it's really really good. This one from John F, 2 star, 2.5 star review. Should have been better, and ultimately a reboot that never should have happened. Some great effects, but lacking any real scares or the political messages associated with the original. As for the cast, Fanning and Cruise aren't able to stretch their wings with the uninspiring material. I mean, that's really interesting. Um, the scares part of it, I think it's mostly, again, I wouldn't classify this as a horror movie by any stretch of the imagination, although I'm scaredy cat, so it's really easy for me to see anything as a horror movie. Um, it's definitely more of a suspense film in that regard. So no, are there any real scares? Like, not really. Just there's like the tense scene where again they're trying to play hide and seek with the aliens that are coming through the house. The political messaging, I think, is an interesting take because reading the H.G. Wells novel, I can't honestly sit here and say I don't know. I can't honestly sit here and say I understand if there's any political messaging in the book. I didn't catch it. That doesn't mean it's not there. And I guess I'd have to go back and watch the original for the political messaging. I feel like I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch the original movie then because I this movie doesn't necessarily need political messaging. Um, and even if you said it needed political messaging, I don't know what it would be. If it's a environmentalism or something, we'd have to figure that out. All right, this one a 1 star from Ryan. This movie had so many sequences that made no sense. Why were people traveling? Where were they going to? Why did they always gather around the alien ships like it was some sort of spectacle? Why did they rush towards the gunfight when Robbie left? Literally dozens of scared people running towards the gunfight. Dumbest movie I've ever watched. Scary Movie 4 was the only reason I kept watching. It was that bad. It's interesting though. So interesting criticism here. I think this person may have missed the point where, I mean, it's a spectacle. You always get caught up in that sort of thing. That's the opening of the movie, right? So the opening part of the movie is like Tom Cruise and everybody being like, "Oh, what's this? What's this thing?" Like all that going on. Um, you know, I think humans in general are just, they have their interests piqued and they want to know what's going on. Um, as far as running towards the fight, I mean, I would assume it has to do with feeling like you're safe with the troops. Um, and Robbie, assuming that is the brother. Again, I can't remember his name right now. He wanted to fight the aliens. Like there was a lot of there were I shouldn't say a lot. There were a couple scenes where he was saying how he wanted to fight. He wanted to actually do something. But part of the fact, like the traveling stuff, that is part of the interesting aspect of this movie is that it's just people trying to escape any way they can. So you end up not you end up almost directionless. They had a direction in that they were trying to go to Boston, but when you run into stuff like refugee caravans, it's like, where are you trying to go? It's like away, just like trying to travel somewhere where you think you'll be safe. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think I think this review may have missed the point, or I'm not understanding the review. Entirely possible. All right, let's see if we can't find one more. This one, a 2-star from Andrea. Badly aged, alien with superior technology are killed by microbes and doesn't have thought about it. Really forced. Yeah, I mean that's the point of the book, though. The ending of the book is the same. Is that it's the germs on the planet that kill the aliens because they're not suited to the Earth's um, they're not suited to the Earth's environment. So while I understand it's like, oh, it's such a cop out, it's actually true to the source material as far as The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Um, so yeah, I mean, you can say it's a lame anticlimactic ending and all that fun stuff. I can't really blame you for that. But at the same time, it's true to the work. Um, so in an age where a lot of people don't like when people veer off the beaten path of source material, you can't say that this one doesn't stay with the source material, at least in this regard. All right, I think that's all we're going to do tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're interested in supporting the channel, again, shout out to our Diamonds in the Rough over on Patreon. We got a couple right now. If you want to support the channel as a free or paid member, you can hop on over. Links are in the description. And yeah, like I said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope I see you in the next one.